Greetings, Kindred. I am voivodemekhet, and welcome back to our world of darkness and tapping the vein. Silent, we're on Tzimisce.
Bro, it's here.
We're on the last official clan.
It's finally happening.
I'm sitting here. I'm wearing my clan Tzimisce T-shirt,
I feel like
and
you're John Cena. Your time is now.
I'm so excited. I love it. I love it. Oh my god,
I,
I love.
I have.
Go
Go ahead.
ahead. Go ahead. What
No,
were you
no,
gonna
no.
say?
This is your episode. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, on the first page here, we got nicknames, just like all the clans. We got the Dragons, the Old Clan, the Voivodes, and the Stokers. I'm laughing my ass off at the Stokers.
Yeah,
Like, I get it. I know why it's there, but why? Why is it there?
because Dracula was.
Yeah.
He was a
Yeah, but
Tzimisce.
he's the least appreciated Tzimisce. He is the most hated kindred in the world of darkness. Why would you accept that? Anyway, I just thought that was interesting. I think that's the only real new nickname. I mean, dragons. I think dragons have always been implied, but now it's official.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole hoarding thing that they've got, it's growing really well.
Mm-hmm.
I'm digging I'm digging this quote that they have at the beginning. Also, not to lead, not to triumph, but to rule and own utterly.
I love that.
I love it. And dude, I'm a minimalist.
You're what?
I'm a minimalist. I try to have as little as I possibly can in life.
Yeah.
And I love this clan to so much. And I'm like, I don't even, like, sometimes I feel like I don't belong to it anymore. But
Well,
yes.
I'm a minimalist also, but more
Okay.
by circumstance than choice.
Mine's by choice. I got rid of, like, everything because I just hated it.
Well, I had a lot of I did a lot of moving around for a portion of my life.
Mhm.
So for example, my PC setup right now, I kid you not, I have a desk that is just big enough for for my actual computer.
Uh-huh.
I then have two TV trays with my keyboard and mouse,
Okay.
and a printer and two printer boxes stacked up for my monitor
Okay. That's rather Spartan of you.
at the foot of my bed.
At the foot of your bed.
Yeah, that's my setup right now.
Wow.
Very minimalist. Because just I'm in the middle of getting my own place again, and
Yeah.
so space is limited. But
Yeah, you're building your domain.
I'm building my domain. Yeah. So I have a question.
Yes.
I had this specifically planned for you for this episode,
Uh-huh.
And I've been waiting to do it. I want to know, what is your I had two ways of going about this. I could just ask you the questions,
Uh-huh.
right? Or I could just rattle them off and to see which one was the best reaction. But what is your least favorite pronunciation of Clan Tzimisce?
Tzimisce. Fucking hate
That's
Tzimisce.
bad.
I
That
know
one's
one
pretty
guy.
bad.
I know one guy who just insists that it's Tzimisce, and I'm just like, I hate you.
That is really
I
bad.
hate you. I have always said Tzimisce. I've
It,
tried.
if you look in the pronunciation, it is Z me C.
Yeah, Tzimisce. I've
I
always
hear
put extra.
Tzimisce.
I've always put extra emphasis on that second T. That Tzimisce, or not
Mm-hmm.
second T, but like the C,
Yeah.
the SC. Like I've always
Mm-hmm.
put extra emphasis into that. But I think it's just because I'm being like extra.
I've heard the Tzimisce.
Oh
The
God,
Tzimisce.
I've heard the Shamish, the
Yeah.
Samashay.
I've heard that one
Oh,
once.
I want to smack a bitch when I hear Samashay.
I hate I like and the one I'm going to compare it to is more common than that one, but I
Okay.
hate them equally as much, and that's the Bruja.
Bruja.
Like when they call them the Bruja, I'm like, ugh. But no, I've heard I've just heard a lot of bad pronunciations.
Oh yeah, no, there's some really bad pronunciations of
And I know
a
there's
lot of the
two
clans.
that I'm forgetting that I can't remember how they go, and If I remember in the process of recording this, I'm just going to interrupt you and shout them out.
Zibits.
It's,
Zibits. Oh my god.
I've heard the Tzimisce or something like that. I think
Tzimisce.
was,
This
which
is
actually sounds kind of cool.
this
But
is my all-time favorite clan, though. I really do. I
yes,
love Clan Tzimisce. I love the regular. I like the old clan, the various bloodlines and revenant families. They are. I love them. I think they're great.
yeah.
What are your thoughts towards the clan of fiends?
Well,
Actually,
I mean,
fiends. Fiends isn't on the list of nicknames.
wait, it's not.
What the fudge? They replace fiends with stokers.
Did they really?
It's not on the list of nicknames. I just realized that when I said it. Yeah.
Wow.
So what's
But
yeah,
like
what is your
it does refer to them as fiends somewhere in the
I'm
in
sure
the
it
fluff
does.
text.
What is
Um,
your what do you think of when you think of Clan Tzimisce?
I mean, the first thing I think of when I think of Clan Tzimisce is it's a toss up between um, vicissitude
Hmm.
as their power or the themes of the clan, which are like this dark nobility,
Mm.
like a sinister, like what's the word, regalness, regality, right? Like those are typically the first things that I think of when I think of the Tzimisce. Is just like they are uh, historically a low clan in the Dark Ages settings.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I've never
They were
seen them as
considered.
such.
They were actually in the Dark Ages. I believe it was Dark Ages Second Edition.
Huh.
The Tzimisce were a low clan.
That's hard to believe, man. I've always seen them as a high clan, if
Every
not the highest of the high
everywhere
clans.
everywhere except for the
Like
Carpathian
the
Mountains.
Carpathians, yeah.
Yeah, they were
I
considered a
can
high clan,
see that
which is
because they would be
they're the
rare.
most they're the most noble of the Dark Age low clans,
Mm.
though. They're
I've always seen them as a noble
noble's a
gangrel.
strong word. Yeah,
You know,
I
even
see.
before they had Protean, I saw them as a noble gangrel.
I don't think they're noble. They're regal.
Mm.
There's nobility has some kind of like uh being noble is like a virtue that you would like, oh, you're so noble, but the Tzimisce aren't really noble. They're regal. It's about presentation. It's not about what's really there, it's about how you present what's there, right?
Okay.
Because a lot of the Tzimisce are really like really twisted, but they have all these rules of hospitality
Do
and
you
manners.
do you know what the
And
definition of noble is?
I may be confusing it with something else, but I'm pretty sure I'm using it correctly.
It's
Am I not?
belonging it's belonging to a hereditary class with high social and political status. I didn't say anything about being nice. I didn't say anything about having a deep respect or honor for anything other than themselves.
Okay, but there's also the definition of it that is having or showing fine personal qualities or high moral principles and ideas.
Just because the morals are alien to you doesn't mean they don't exist.
Okay,
This
fair
is the
point.
one where I'm going to be argumentative.
No, that's hey, I invite it. I told you this is
Ah,
your video.
I love this. I love this. And not only do I love this, I love the fact that the Tzimisce are not specifically Sabbat anymore. I
Yeah.
think that somewhere along the lines after the Victorian ages, the Sabbat just lost its right to have the Tzimisce. I really do. I think they just got dirty, and the Tzimisce are better than that.
I'm sorry. That was a little. What was that? The Tzimisce are better than that?
I think the Tzimisce are better than that.
They're the ones who built it.
They are, and it got corrupted by those clanless worthlessness.
Okay, we're really landing on thick here today. All right. So, yeah, because it has nothing to do
You're absolutely right. It's
to the
Lasambra.
wary
It's nothing.
to the wary listener. Be careful of the propaganda. If the Tremere have taught us anything, be wary of propaganda.
No, I love the Tzimisce. They
Oh,
hold
I do too.
everything that is a vampire to me.
They do. They hit those traditional
They
vibes of
really do.
vampire.
They really do.
Yeah.
And it's not even about the disciplines. If you told me, hey, we're going to play a vampire game and you can pick whatever clan that you want, but you don't get to choose your disciplines, like I'm just going to give you random stuff, or I'm not going to give
Hmm.
you disciplines at all, I'd still say take the Tzimisce because it's about the vibe. It's about the
Yeah.
attitude and the way that they
Hmm.
live their existence, not the powers that they have.
Yeah. I mean, so that's a fascinating topic that I was actually going to bring up during this video was
Hmm.
that the Tzimisce are a vibe, like you said, which is what makes it so strange that they gave them the weirdest power,
Oh,
right? Like
what the
when I
the
think,
the vicissitude?
yeah, like when someone presents the Tzimisce to me, and you're like, they're these noble, regal, like you know, lords and ladies, and they're all about hospitality and manners, but also flesh crafting is their favorite
Hmm.
pastime.
Well,
What? You know,
that's where the schism of the clan comes in. You've got those
okay,
that do practice it and those who do not practice it. And
yeah,
5th edition has made that very easy to accomplish because you could just ignore
yes,
it. You could just ignore the amalgams and take Protean, standard old
I
Protean.
I have done so. Uh,
You could play the Tzimisce who just turns into a wolf and a bat. You don't have
mhm,
to turn into a xenomorph, which is effectively what they were originally designed to be. Was they were now you can customize them more now in
yeah,
5th edition, but like originally they were meant to come out looking like a Geiger invention. You know, they were meant to be something that you would see in like an alien.
alien,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, so that actually comes from an interesting bit of meta knowledge.
Hmm.
Was that each of the clans or each of the splats that exist outside of vampire
Uh huh.
had a clan of association with them. So you had the
Yep.
Gangrel with werewolf,
Yep.
the Hakata with wraith. There
The
was
Giovanni had wraiths.
yeah,
The werewolves were
the
the
Tremere with
werewolves.
the
Yep.
mage. Um,
Ravno were Fey.
yep, and then the Tzimisce were going to, or well,
Yep.
you had the Lasombra and Demon
Uh
from the
huh.
Abyss. And then you were going to have the Tzimisce, and they were had been working on an
Alien the
alien.
Invasion.
Yes,
Alien the Invasion. I've seen two books. I've seen the core book and I've seen the player's guide.
I didn't know that they ever actually released
I
anything
don't know
for
if
it.
they were actually released. I've only seen images of them. But I've seen the covers to them and they were pretty cool looking, but I can see also
Yeah,
why they backed out.
yeah. So the idea that vicissitude is an alien power, and they practice avian morality, and
Hmm.
it's an infection from an alien species, or something of that from the lunatic faction,
Infected by the Fomori. Oh, don't get into that lunatic faction. We could cover a Shadow Crusade episode all on its own.
okay.
Like seriously, there's just so much in the Shadow Crusade
Yeah.
that we'd be sitting here talking for hours, but we're here for the
See,
clan
the idea that
games.
the idea that vicissitude is a corrupting force.
I can definitely see that as a propaganda against set out by people who don't like it.
Yeah, I could too, but it's also an interesting idea that you would use the word corrupted, and when you were describing the Sabbat earlier, and I'm like, yeah, but they're the ones who led the Sabbat. They're the ones who turned everyone into religious fanatics and
They
zealots.
broke the blood bond, man. The
They
Tzimisce
did.
broke the blood
That's
bond.
Look, that's nothing. That is not something that we should just overlook.
No, not at all.
That is incredible.
Now, given
I,
that we actually have access to Khaldunic sorcery
mhm.
in V5, it's a set of rituals that go along with blood sorcery.
Yeah, well, there's also the the Koldunism discipline power that starts it all off.
Hmm.
That came out in, was it Blood Sigils?
Blood sigils, Khaldunism is it's a set of rituals.
Mm, I'm gonna fact check you on that because
I
I believe there's a power. I don't doubt that you would, if anyone knows, it would be you.
the way that Khaldunic sorcery works in V5, from what I've read, and I've read it extensively, it's in Blood Sigils, is
Hmm.
is you buy typical blood sorcery the way that you want to.
Hmm.
In my opinion, as a Tzimisce, you should probably go with the coercive stuff, the more quietus style, because it's a morph of the blood turning it into acid, and blood of acid was an old vicissitude power.
Right.
That's just, again, that's my opinion. That's what I would go for if I was playing one, and I am. But that's what I would do. But there is a set of rituals. It's actually 5 rituals, I think, that you can buy. The first one, which is a Kaldunism power that attunes you to elements, you can actually buy multiple times to attune you to
Okay.
different elements each time. It's amazing, and the best part is you have to cause yourself pain to use it. It's a very old worldy, shamanistic,
Yes.
like it's a dirty power, and I love it. I love it. It works so well with Clan Tzimisce. On top of that, because I will go on and on and on forever for just random Tzimisce facts, with the disciplines, Tzimisce come with animalism, dominate, and protean, which I have heard so many people give praise and so many people give complaints about the new basic lineup of the disciplines, because it used to be animalism, auspex, and vicissitude. But now that we have the amalgams, vicissitude is dominate plus protean, and they just got rid of auspex altogether.
So you've heard me share this complaint probably a million times, and you'll hear it a million times more before I give up on it. Um,
You think vicissitude
Protean
should be protean and auspex?
Protean makes perfect sense, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm so happy that they. I'm actually really happy that they put it with inside Protean, because it goes again. It goes back to the original powers written about in the Book of Nod and
Mm-hmm.
like with Cain, and I think that I think that the idea that all of the powers stem from like these family kind of concepts of power, and then throughout time have been perfected and refined and changed and altered it from the individual user.
Mm-hmm.
However, and I think that dominate and protean makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, but
The old clan Tzimisce had dominate instead of vicissitude,
mm-hmm.
so it does make sense in fifth edition that they would also have dominate with protean and animalism. However, the facet about the Tzimisce, the little detail that to me, was the most fascinating detail about the clan in prior editions
Mm-hmm.
was that they didn't need dominate to be controlling. They didn't need to make you do things with the powers of dominate, and they were the creators of the revenants, the ghoul
Mm-hmm.
families, and they didn't need dominate to do it. They broke the blood bonds, and they didn't need dominate to do that. They did it by manipulating the soul, the body, and the blood,
Mm-hmm.
which, you know, as far as I am concerned, should have been a representation of Auspex and Protean. Auspex, the ability to perceive the soul, and Protean, the ability to alter the soul.
Well, there is a Tzimisce level of dominate that, like, it's called Domitor's favor, and it holds true with everything that you
Yes.
were just saying about the idea of being able to just completely manipulate the blood.
Yeah, I mean, I've played the Tzimisce in fifth edition
Yeah.
several times. I love it.
Oh,
I
I personally
love it.
think if a storyteller came up to me and said, "Yeah, you have potent celerity and fortitude, no matter what clan you take. What are you playing?" I'd still play Tzimisce,
Yeah.
because
No,
it
they're
does
great.
not matter what you have. It depends on how you act.
I guess part of my frustration with the way that they've done it with Dominate is again it's not even really a frustration so much as it is just like a like I would have liked to have seen more variety,
Okay.
right? Like with the amalgams, it's more that than anything. Because like I said, I've played several Tzimisce now. I couldn't even tell you, like, two just come to mind, but I know I've played more. The In the Chicago book,
Hmm.
there's a Toreador who uh who had a Tzimisce lover and taught her how to change her body, and because she was born a biological male,
Okay.
and so they had represented that with just one dot of protean on her stat block. And I'm like, oh, that makes perfect sense. Protean and Auspex makes
Okay.
perfect sense because it makes sense for the Vulgari as well, the bloodline of Toreador who could learn vicissitude.
Yeah, yeah. They were brought up in the 20th anniversary edition of Vampire.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting, conceptually at least, to have the idea that it's Auspex and Protean because
I think that makes perfect sense. I really do. I 100% agree with you on that. I also
well,
just don't care because
no, I
I like what it works with.
absolutely. And what I'm saying is, I'm fine with the way it is. Right, I get fired up about it a lot of times, and I put on a bit more than I probably should about how I feel about it.
Uh-huh.
But I just like the concept of the whole, like, because there's the whole concept of vicissitude being a corruption thing,
Yeah.
right? And the idea that it doesn't just touch the body, but it touches the soul.
Hmm.
I love that conceptually. To me, that is like just a chef's kiss.
Well,
Perfect.
Dirty Secrets of the Black Hand, where that whole idea of the Shadow Crusade and vicissitude being an alien virus, effectively a bane, so turning Clan Tzimisce as a whole into like Fomori.
Yeah.
Um, that whole thing
I
was
mean,
written by a person who basically was writing out of spite. That book needed to
mm,
come out. He they took advantage of it and just did it, and they basically tried to cause as much trouble as possible when that book came out. Like
yeah.
that has been something that has been told to me by people who work for World of Darkness. That was not a
Yeah.
book that was condoned by World of Darkness. It was just something that came out and they really didn't have a chance to dispute it before it was already on shelves.
Right.
Um,
30 Secrets of the Black Hand
I
is a
loved
lot
it.
of,
I love
is a
that
great book.
book. I really do love that book.
Great book.
But the Storyteller's Guide in LARP for second edition revised, when it starts bringing on information from tabletop into the LARP edition, that's where you get your Bali, that's where you get your Nagaraja and your True Bruja
Mhm.
characters. It
Yeah.
goes a lot into what happened post Week of Nightmares, and a section in that book that I really loved called The Severed Fingers of the Black Hand. And it goes on to talk about how the whole Shadow Crusade was just thought up by a handful of Elder Tzimisce called the Lunatic Faction who just didn't like vicissitude.
Yeah.
And they were old enough that the people listened to them. And they had said it so long, they actually started believing in their own lies.
Yeah.
So the whole idea of it being some kind of like bane infection that like infected a Methuselah Tzimisce and then worked its way back up to the Antediluvian and spread throughout the clan. It's I mean it by canon it's just propaganda.
It is.
I understand why you like it, and I've played in a lot of games where the concept of Shadow Crusade was canon. Like I've played in games where like we spent time hunting down Tzimisce and ripping out the Banes.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no,
That's cool.
we had whole things about it. It was really fun. I had a lot of fun with it, and it would have worked really fun as a canon story, but it's not.
So
Um,
my appreciation for that theme
mhm.
isn't because of the lunatic faction.
Okay,
There's a really popular manga right now. I'm gonna let my weeb out for a minute. Um, the called Jujutsu Kaisen,
okay,
and there's a character in there in that show uh, who has so they have this premise of like there's this kind of like theme through Jujutsu Kaisen. It's like, what is the soul?
hmm
is the body the shape that it is because the soul was there first, or does the soul take the shape of the body it inhabits?
Okay.
And very few characters in this manga can manipulate or have any interaction with the soul. Very few people, even some of the most like cracked characters in the manga, because it's a shonen kind of anime or
Yeah.
manga. Even some of the most cracked characters in there have no perception of their own soul, and so there's an adversary in the show or in the series, whose power is soul manipulation,
Okay.
and all he has to do is touch you, and he can change your form however he wants. Because he's
Hmm.
not changing your body, he's changing the shape of your soul,
And
and your
your
body
body
changes with it.
mirrors that. Okay.
Yeah, and I love that concept.
I like the idea. I can definitely see a group like a school of Clan Tzimisce who believes that what they're doing is altering the soul and having the
Yeah.
flesh take
Now,
form with it. I
now,
like that.
what I'll say is I had the premise of this like idea um before I had ever started reading that manga.
Hmm.
But I think it's just a fascinating concept, and because there is so much propaganda around what vicissitude is,
Hmm.
and it is, you got to admit, like, it's a weird power.
Yeah.
Like I've put you say it with such pride, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've put myself in the shoes of, like, if I woke up tomorrow and I could like mold flesh, I would be afraid of the power. I very quickly get over that fear and be like, time to get ripped, like just rip off the
Time to get
freaking,
ripped. Who needs
yeah,
the gym?
yeah,
I got
right.
Pronian.
Um, but yeah, it's just a weird power.
It is. It is.
The reason the real reason for behind like that concept of like manipulating the soul is because the clan has always had these themes of transcendent
They have. They've always
philosophy.
had the concept of of Asadahaka.
Yes, Asahata Haka.
Asadahaka, the Tzimisce's version of Golconda.
Yeah, and I think that the whole idea of, and that was another kind of facet of the clan that made me a little disappointed that they didn't give them auspex, is
Hmm.
because they used auspex to understand their soul, and they used vicissitude to reshape their body,
There
right?
was
And so,
there was a
like,
combo discipline years ago. I don't remember what it's called, but it's in the Tzimisce clan book, second edition. And there are LARP rules and tabletop rules for this. I love the second edition of the clan books because they always gave both. When it came to like tabletop and LARP, they always gave both rules in those books. But it was a it was a level of auspex. It was aura perception
hmm
plus vicissitude plus flesh crafting. And what you would
hmm
do is you would look in a mirror and you would like mess around with your chakras,
okay,
and it would it would change your soul. Like you could make like aura perception read whatever you wanted it to read.
ooh,
Like you could hide your diableries. You could change like the depth of color in your soul so you didn't read as a vampire. Like you could change it to make it look like you could never lie. You know, those kind of things. It's a pretty interesting power.
that is cool.
I do agree though. I miss Auspex when it comes to the Tzimisce,
hmm
but for the
Predator types.
concept for the concept of mind over matter. The idea of I am
Ooh,
dominating my flesh to take the form I want it to.
I
That
like that
makes
too.
I love it. I love it. I love
Yeah.
it. It's I get excited.
I want to kind of break the traditional mold, as we should in the Zamisi video,
No, yes.
and stretch ourselves out to something that exists in a different edition,
Hmm.
one that I'm not sure if you're familiar with or not, because I know you don't like 20th anniversary.
Okay.
There is a Path of Enlightenment in
Huh.
20th anniversary edition
Okay.
called the Path. Let me find it. The Path of Asaku.
Okay. I am unaware of what this is.
Okay.
Educate me.
That so I'm gonna just hit the kind of like header, like bold print summary here.
Yeah.
The nicknames for the people who follow this path are the corrupted.
Hmm.
Their virtues, which are conviction and instinct. So instead of in older editions, you had instead of having uh,
Yeah,
touchstones and convictions, you had
you had
conscience
conscience,
and self control.
conviction, and courage.
Self control, yeah, and well, it was conscious and conviction were on one line. You if you
Mm,
were if you followed if you had conscience or you either had conviction, right?
yeah,
Um, and then there was self control or instinct on the next line,
yeah,
and then there was courage, right? And these were your virtues, is what they called
yes.
them. This path abandons both self control and conscience for the inhuman virtues of conviction and instinct.
Okay.
Uh, the the bearing of the path is otherworldly. Followers adopt an alien demeanor. Most utilize their vicissitude constantly. Even when they attempt to blend in, all but the cleverest make unusual mistakes, marking themselves as beings unfamiliar with the human world. They ignore social conventions and state in odd directions. And Asaku's bearing modifier applies to awareness and occult roles. So this is a little bit of a mechanic behind it. The idea of this path here, I'm going to read just through really quickly through the ethics because I
Yeah.
think that this kind of goes. This is from the guide to the Talmahi Ray, the Talmahi
Okay.
Ra
Tell me wrong.
book. Um, the ethics of the path.
Which
You are
is
not a
the Black
vampire.
Hand, by the way.
Yes, the ethics of the path. You are not a vampire. You are a discipline personified, an emanation of a watcher or a shadow within your beast. You are no more than an individual. You are no more of an individual than a raptor's feather on a wing, or a single memory locked in a mind with a million memories. Master vicissitude, and it will unlock the secrets of the ancients. Non-Asaku who inherit vicissitude from a clan or bloodline usurp power, convert or destroy them. The voice within you cries for the present for a presence on earth. Share your power, blood, and path to host it. Hide your nature from enemies. Prepare a place to dwell in advance of your ultimate transformation. This is a path of enlightenment that embodies the basically stripping away self individuality and becoming vicissitude.
That
Um,
sounds like a very bestial version of Path of Metamorphosis.
it yes, yeah. The entire idea behind this is you're effectively you no longer see yourself as anything more than an agent or an extension of the power of vicissitude itself.
That's interesting. This isn't a Tell Me
It's
Raw book?
yes,
That's
yeah. It's a
weird because they're like completely against the use of vicissitude.
so this is a path of enlightenment for adversarial
Oh, okay. That makes
individuals. Yeah.
sense. That makes sense. So this
Um,
is an enemy path, not a
yes.
Tell Me
Yeah.
Raw path.
It is a storyteller's tool, effectively.
Okay, that's interesting. I like it. I think that's a nice path. I'm very much not a modern primitive style of Tzimisce.
Okay.
I am the kind of person who believes that if you're going to make any type of physical changes, they need to have reason. I'm not the kind of person who's going to like give themselves. I'm not going to take away my eyebrows and give myself little tiny bone spur horns.
Right.
Like I don't think decorative vicissitude is my cup of tea.
Right.
But I do think utilitarian vicissitude is actually fairly useful and is needed in a situation when you're trying to exist. Like I have always been the kind of person who my Tzimisce will close off my stomach
Hmm.
so that I can still eat food and then just empty the bag later.
Yeah.
Because my old Tzimisce used to own a restaurant, and I used to work with my retainers and my contacts and stuff through my restaurant. Like I would only change myself based on what was needed, and if it was a temporary need, it would be something that I would change back.
So I said that the first thing I would do if I had vicissitude was get skinny and really buff.
Hmm.
The second thing I would do, and shame on anyone who says that they wouldn't, because you know you would, at least for a little while.
Uh
I give myself Wolverine claws because that's the coolest freaking part of this power.
huh. Wolverine claws.
Absolutely. Why would you not?
I don't know. I think I'd adopt the dragon aesthetic.
Okay.
I think I would go with like I like the idea of the reptilian style claws instead of the bestial furry claws,
Yeah.
and I think I don't know. I love the whole dragon aesthetic of Tzimisce in fifth edition. I really like the fact that they've kind of like gone full, you know, just gone full force into the concept of the dragon for Clan Tzimisce.
Yeah. I played a Tzimisce in we played through the Sacrifice, which is in the Chicago by Night book, and I
Hmm.
played uh a Tzimisce who was like an old school early 1900s gangster.
Hmm.
Um and I played him like an old clan. I didn't take any of the flesh crafting powers. I didn't have any of the blood. I didn't have blood sorcery or anything.
Hmm.
And I leaned into the dragon aesthetic pretty heavy with him. I worked it out with my storyteller that I could take on. I took B shape or shape
Hmm.
of the beast, and had effectively we used the bear stat block, but he turned into like a wingless dragon.
Okay, so you turned into a worm.
Yeah,
Okay,
or a drake,
a
depending on.
drake. Yeah,
Yeah. Um,
that's interesting.
uh, yeah, and so like his eyes of the beast were draconic. His feral weapons were like scales
Reptilian.
with red scales would form at the end of his fingers, and his claws would elongate like dragon claws.
Yeah.
And he would take the form uh of like a draconic kind of beast.
Okay.
And it was a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun.
Very cool. I'm currently, I mean, I'm currently playing in a game that you're playing in. I get to play for
Yes.
a change.
Yeah.
And excited. And I jumped at the first chance that I got to play Tzimisce. Um, and like our storyteller was really nice, and he was like, yeah, like we can, like, just see what happens. But like, I
Mhm.
completely built my character to be a Tzimisce. It's quite obvious. And but I'm playing a concept that I've always wanted to play again that I found in earlier books, which are exsanguinists,
Mhm.
Tzimisce who are terrified to drink blood,
Interesting.
and the whole idea of just like, oh god, there's something dirty in there, I don't want to eat it. Like they get to the point where they starve themselves till they just frenzy.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Now my guy has a lot better ways of handling that. At least I think I do. I haven't had a chance to actually like hunt for
Yeah.
myself in character yet, which I'm looking forward to doing. I don't plan on starving myself, but I am definitely not drinking blood that I haven't had a chance to analyze first.
True.
Um,
I think that talking about that character for a second, um, I think when we were playing that last session, or that, well, I guess it was the first session technically,
yeah.
we on a cliffhanger.
Yep.
But right before that cliffhanger, your character and my character were actually like on the verge of accepting a really uncomfortable fact about whatever it is that's happened to them.
Yeah. My character has somehow logicked the fact that he's a vampire.
Like you hit my character who's like whatever, uh, and with the logic of you have to admit the blood looks enticing, right? And I'm like, yeah, but just ignore it. And which is interesting because no, never. I was about to go off on a tangent with that game, but yeah,
Yeah.
uh,
I'm
I,
having so
I've
much fun with
I've
that character.
I've enjoyed seeing you play that Tzimisce because
So much fun.
he's very interesting as a character, and I want to pursue. I, as the player, want to know more about him.
I'm glad that you got to sit and listen to my session 0 in the background.
Yeah, it was a lot. That
Like,
was
I
I
was
was
just
just
like,
like,
oh, people
what?
are going to find out what I'm doing early. I didn't realize that. Okay, well, let's do this.
Uh, but yeah, I was like, because I came into that session 0 just to listen in late because I had been there for a lot of the other session 0s, so
Yeah.
I didn't know I was walking into something secretive. And I just came into it and I'm like, what in the world?
Yeah, I got to play. I'm gonna scare people. That's basically it. Okay, so we've gone over Tzimisce disciplines, which currently in V5 they stand to Animalism, Dominate, and Protean. No longer are they Animalism, Auspex, and Vicissitude. Dominate plus Protean equals Vicissitude in the Amalgam system. I like it. I think it works really well. I really
It's
don't care
fantastic.
if it was the other way around. I'm fine with it. But then we have the Bane of Clan Tzimisce, which is a lot of fun in this one.
Yeah.
Because in the old games, in the old systems, it was a Tzimisce has to sleep within at least 2 handfuls of their native soil, either the
Mhm.
soil that they lived in life or their actual grave soil,
Yeah.
which for a lot of Sabbat would end up being like the dirt from their shovel party.
Yep.
Nowadays, in V5, they've updated a little bit. You definitely could do the handfuls of soil if you wanted to.
Hmm.
There's nothing stopping you. But it says that the Tzimisce are grounded. Each Tzimisce must choose a specific charge, a physical domain, a group of people, an organization, or even something more esoteric, but clearly defined and limited. The kindred must spend their day sleep surrounded by their chosen charge. Historically, this has often meant slumbering in the soil of their land, but it can also mean being surrounded by that which they tonight rule. A certain kind of people, a building deeply tied to their obsession, a local counterculture faction, or other more outlandish elements. If they do not, they sustained aggravated willpower damage equal to their bane severity upon waking the following night. That's fun.
Yes, it is
That's
fun, and I've had a lot of fun with characters that I've played or written
mhm,
with this Bane. So for the one that I played that I mentioned earlier, uh, his was buildings that he owned. He
mhm.
had like he had to own the land that he was staying at. Basically, he couldn't stay anywhere that he didn't own. But I've also been far more restrictive in that I played in a Dark Ages game.
Mhm.
I played effectively a sea locked. You know, you've heard the term landlocked.
Yeah.
I played a sea locked Tzimisce.
Okay.
Uh, we were playing Dark Ages. I didn't really know what I wanted to play. I had so I just got on like a big Davy Jones type beat where I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah. I think I remember talking to you
I'm
about
I'm
this.
gonna have a living ship that is just a bunch of flesh crafted sea creatures together.
That's cool.
Um,
That's fun.
and so his things were because he was actually like a slave hand when
Hmm.
he grew up a slave, and whenever he got embraced, he got his freedom. His the thing he was grounded to were symbols of freedom,
Hmm.
which were I had three very specific symbols that represented freedom to him. That was the ocean, gold, and freed slaves,
Okay.
free men. And so his crew that he sailed with were entirely made up of slaves that he had liberated
Okay.
and gave them the choice. They can go about their lives, or they can willingly choose to serve him and gain a piece of his power.
So again, like Davy Jones.
So, like Davy Jones.
Yeah.
And that character was a lot of fun to play.
I love the idea of the Tzimisce who's obsessed with gold,
Hmm.
specifically gold, because
Yeah.
I see him stealing gold fillings out of people's mouths. Like, like you walk into his haven, and it's like, wow, there sure are a lot of teeth in that bed. That's foul. But no, I like this. It's definitely something that makes you think. One of my
Hmm.
favorite Tzimisce concepts of all time was the Lord of the Ghetto, which was again it was a character concept, character sheet, character concept that was in the back of the old Clan Tzimisce clan book, and it was this guy who was described as just somebody who would walk around a bad neighborhood at night And like the neighborhood children would collect flowers for him and bring them to him because they knew that he made the neighborhood safe.
Yeah.
And like if there was any gang activity, there wouldn't be any gang activity. Like he did massively evil things to people who trespassed, but he
Hmm.
treated the people in his charge like family. And
You know
I
who?
loved it.
You know that concept has been played in since V5 came out on a
Okay.
public stage.
Really?
Alexander Ward
Okay.
in New York by Night.
I don't. You know what? I didn't really see him as a Lord of the Ghetto kind of Tzimisce, but
Ah,
I can see
but
where you're
it's
coming from with it.
the information is subtle.
Mm.
He's an extortionist.
Okay.
This is stated. He is an extortionist. This is his predator type, and he's having a conversation with the coterie, and he mentions that somebody asked him like, you know, how is it that you feed in so freely in this area or something to that effect,
Hmm.
and he said, I give them protection and they give me blood. And I thought that was really interesting.
That is very
That
interesting. I never really put two and two together for the Lord of the Ghetto
Mhm.
concept, but yeah, that does work out really well.
Like he made the comment that he likes, you know, he's very particular about his home and the place that his home is in. I think he even said at one point, like, I don't want to move domain. I don't want a different domain. I want my domain. You know, like
Yeah. Well, I mean
um,
that's Tzimisce right there. It's like
that's
this is
so
mine.
amazing.
This is
Yeah,
mine.
I
Like
don't want that.
I don't want that. I want to stay here. This is where I
Yeah,
live. This is where I belong. This is like I belong to this land.
yeah. But I think Alexander Wood was going for kind of a subtle approach to that. I think he
Okay.
was. I think that's what his character. I forget the character's name. I
I don't
feel
know.
terrible.
I was very happy to see Alex play
Yeah, I was too.
Tzimisce, because I was so used to him playing Jasper.
Hmm.
And I was like, eventually, I want to see a Tzimisce player character in one of these by night games.
Yeah,
And I'm waiting for that season 3 to eventually come out.
I am too. I'm
You know, I
excited.
really hope that doesn't just get pushed to the side. Like, I would really like to see the culmination of the Anarch and the Camarilla groups end up, you know, getting involved and seeing how that all works out. Because Alex Ward as that Tzimisce is something I would definitely like to see more of.
Yeah, me too.
There is an alternate bane called Cursed Courtesy. Just as many Tzimisce are deadly serious about their own havens and property, so are they compelled to treat that of others. A Tzimisce vampire entering someone else's home, uninvited, suffers a severe distress and an almost physical desire to leave. A Tzimisce vampire wishing to enter a place of residence, home, and haven alike, uninvited, must spend willpower equal to their bane severity, and also suffer a similar dice penalty to their discipline pools during their stay. The invitation must be made by someone who lives or unlives there,
Inhabitants.
and thus only actual inhabited homes and havens fulfill this condition. The Tzimisce can freely enter public or abandoned buildings, and flats or apartments count as separate homes for this purpose. Edge cases are left up to storyteller discretion. Tzimisce using this bane cannot take the corresponding folkloric block or as a flaw. So, like, it's the classic
You have to be
obsession with
invited in.
hospitality.
Hmm.
That's a lot of fun. I can see myself taking twice cursed
Oh,
with a Tzimisce, definitely.
a bazillion%.
Yeah,
Like,
because I really like the hoarding, the collection of the
yeah.
first Bane, but like the idea of the whole "can I come in?"
Hmm.
Like you need that permission. That would actually really be fun to take that alternate Bane with a consensualist Tzimisce.
Ooh,
You know, it's like everything needs permission. Like obsession with permission.
true manners.
Hmm.
Like, I'm just obsessed with being mannerly and polite.
Yeah, but I see that being somebody who's like slightly older, maybe like an Ancilli,
Hmm.
who is maybe mentally traumatized at that point. He's the kind of person who like got slapped on the hands by like with a ruler. You know, like it's not so much that he's polite, it's that he has an aversion to impoliteness.
I see. Could be somebody who in their life never got a choice.
Hmm.
All their choices were they felt like either made for them or taken their
Yeah,
choice was taken
and
from
it's
them.
carried over into their death.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a really
So
sad character.
it can be, but I see Tzimisce as having the Tzimisce are terrifying. I'm not saying that they're not, but I definitely can see a true tragic and sad character involved in that kind of thing because you're not just becoming a vampire, which is a tragic story in and of itself, but you're actually alien even in comparison to other vampires.
Yeah, yeah.
So, then we have the compulsion, which is covetedness. When a Tzimisce suffers a compulsion, the kindred becomes obsessed with possessing something in the scene, desiring to add it to their proverbial hoard. This can be anything from an object to a piece of property to an actual person. Any action not taken towards this purpose incurs a 2 dice penalty. The compulsion persists until ownership is established. The storyteller decides what constitutes his ownership in the case of a non object, or the object of desire becomes unattainable. I'll give you a little bit of a hint on my character for Darkness Emergent.
Okay.
My Bane, the whole I have to keep things, is
Yeah.
set off by my covetousness.
So whatever you have to keep is
That gets
whatever
added
you
to my
covet.
Bane. Yep.
Really?
Yep. I figured since my character is based off me and I am personally a minimalist, I am going to eventually drive myself insane by stuff that I just have to steal. Which is very interesting because covetedness kind of sounds like the old Ravno weakness, you know?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, but I really like the fact that it's the Tzimisce, the whole like hoarding, the dragon hoarding, the dragon who's sitting on his pile of gold. You know,
Yeah.
it's a very interesting concept altogether.
That's really cool.
After that, we have our archetypes. Before we get into archetypes, I have a question for you.
Okay.
How many iterations of Dracula do you think you've seen?
Oh my god.
Have you watched a lot of Dracula movies?
I have seen maybe not like in full a
Uh
lot of
huh.
Dracula movies. Um, I have seen a lot of different I've seen a lot of Dracula, different takes on Dracula and different iterations of Dracula. Gary Oldman's is the first one that comes to mind.
Mm.
The 3-episode Netflix series is one. And my favorite one is Luke Evans' Dracula Untold.
That was a good
Um,
movie.
that
That
was
was
a
a good
great
movie.
movie.
That was like a Vampire the Masquerade Dark Ages
It was
style of
100%.
yeah. That was really good.
Of course, there's the Bela Lugosi Dracula.
I've literally
and I,
watched that 3 times this month. Seriously, no, I use it to fall asleep. Like if I'm having an insomnia fit, I turn on black and white like 1930s movies, like
nice,
horror movies. I watched The Invisible Man last night.
nice. It's a good movie.
Yeah.
And then I know there's like Dracula. What is it? Dracula 3000 or
Oh
2000 or
God,
whatever. There's so
it
many.
was
There's
awful.
just so many. Well, I assume this question had a point other than just me rattling off actors and
I
portrayals of Dracula.
primarily I was just
I almost forgot. Renfield, Nicholas
Nicolas
Cage's.
Cage's Dracula. Oh my God.
Yeah,
Oh my God. How many comedy Draculas are there? I can think of two. It's like Nick Cage and Renfield and from Renfield and like Leslie Nielsen from Dracula Dead and Loving It.
that one. That's that one's hands down my favorite one
Is it?
though.
I was gonna ask, out of all the Draculas that you've seen, what's your favorite?
Oh,
You can say
okay.
Leslie Nielsen if you really want to.
No, he's not. So, like, in all seriousness, my favorite like portrayal of Dracula. Um, you I mean, it depends on like what you're going for as far as the theme goes, because there's
Okay,
the
okay.
monster Dracula, right? But then there's
Who do
like
you
the
think
character.
who do you think portrays the best clan Tzimisce?
Ooh.
Like, even if you don't really like care for the performance because of the performance itself, who's the best Tzimisce Dracula you've seen?
Well, I want to say Luke Evans from Dracula Untold, but I don't know if I can say it's because he was the best Dracula. I think it was. I think what I like about that one is that like it was told from the the perspective that because in Wallachia, Dracula was actually like
He's a hero.
he's a hero,
Yeah, he's a
right? And
national
so
hero.
yeah, so he was a national like he was like the hero of that movie.
Bram Stoker stole the name,
Yeah,
but the character was not Prince Vlad the Third of Wallachia, like at all. Like
no.
that character, like Vlad did some messed up stuff. I'm not going to say that he didn't. It was
Hmm.
definitely a man who enjoyed cooking marshmallows over an open fire. But sorry, I love that. I love that meme where it's like when Dracula discovers marshmallows, these things are awesome. It's like you just put them on a stick. Um, but like he did a lot of messed up dark things, but he did it to
Hmm.
protect his people.
Yes, yeah.
He did some
Um,
very evil things for a good reason.
this is
Um,
twice in one episode. I'm going to reference anime, and I'm very embarrassed. Um, there's a
you're allowed to be a
anime
weeb.
called. I'm really not that much of a weeb. It's just there are things that pertain to like darker concepts I like.
Hmm.
Um, there the anime Fate Apocrypha.
Okay,
Fate. I don't know. Are you familiar with Fate in any
I
way?
am not.
Okay, so long story short, um, wizards and like these mage like people summon back the spirit of legends throughout the world, whether
Okay,
they were fictional or if they were fictional or real people, doesn't matter. It's the legend that they call back.
I think I may have heard about this. This sounds
Okay,
familiar.
there is in Apocrypha was a deviation from the traditional ones
Hmm.
in that there was teams. Normally it's like there's like seven classes that these heroes spirits get summoned back into, and the in Apocrypha, there were two teams of heroic spirits summoned back, these legendary individuals.
Hmm.
And on one of the teams, uh, they had Vlad Tepish.
Okay.
And they were in Wallachia, was where it was taking place. And his ability was like he could control the ground around him. Like he was the master of his land, right?
Okay.
He ruled Wallachia and that. So he was the most powerful in when he was in contact with his native like his homeland. Um but we see like there's this one moment where like the people who summon back the spirits, they get three undeniable commands that they can give the spirit of the legend. And the one thing that Vlad Tepish tells him is whatever you do, do not make me use that ability, like that the power by that name.
Hmm.
Which we later see him get forced to use, and
Yeah,
it's
of course.
called the Legend of Dracula. And Vlad Tepish hates it. He hates it. He loses his like he goes nuts when he's forced to use it because he does not like that image of his reputation.
Yeah.
He sees it as being spoiled. So when you said that Stoker stole it and stole the name Vlad, I just thought that was like kind of interesting because I'd never really seen that, I guess,
Yeah.
or noticed that.
There is next to no real Dracula in Dracula. Like,
Yeah,
except for the name, there's really
yeah.
not much. Um,
But I think the best Tzimisce probably, I guess, would be the one from the 3 episode from Netflix.
that's exactly what I think too. I think he did
Yeah.
an amazing job. There's that whole like I own things. And
Uh
the
huh.
fact that like I love the whole concept of, oh no, there's lots of different vampires. He's just the best one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I really really love that. Like the Netflix Dracula is in my opinion like so good. It's so good.
It is really good.
I love watching all of them. I really do. And like I'll watch like Bram Stoker's with Anthony Hopkins and Keanu Reeves and Winona Ryder like all the time. But like I don't know. I keep going back to that Netflix 3-part series that the BBC worked on with them, and it's just like it's amazing.
I forgot about the Demeter.
There is
The
also
last
Last Voyage of the
Demeter.
Demeter. That is a very
Which
fun. It's very Nosferatu.
he just spends the whole movie in horrid form.
Yeah,
It is very Nosferatu.
it is. It's
Um,
very reminiscent of the of like the movie Nosferatu.
yeah. But yeah, no, I think the Netflix one. I think the reason you like it so much is because the whole second episode takes place on the Demeter.
I do. That's like seriously my favorite episode of the 3-part series is the
Yeah,
Demeter episode.
it is.
I
It's the
love
best
how
episode.
smug he is.
Yeah.
He's just so
Oh,
smug.
yeah, he is. Yeah, he is. He does such a good job. I don't
Yeah,
even
he
know the
does.
guy's name. I don't know the actor's name,
Um,
but he does a fantastic job.
Cly's Bang.
Okay.
I think that's how he's pronounced. It's Claes, Cly's, and Bang Bang.
Hmm.
Freaking
He does a
amazing.
he does a he, it's a phenomenal
Yeah,
performance. It really is.
I think he's a Hungarian actor, and I think people were like, how is he playing this, and why is I was like, freaking Dracula was a Hungarian actor too. I mean,
Yeah.
or sorry, Bela Lugosi was a Hungarian actor too. I mean,
Yeah.
like, freaking amazing.
But
Anyway,
oh yeah.
anyway,
Well,
so
the question was who plays the best Tzimisce, and it's definitely him.
mm.
Like he just encaptures that like in the alien like
He really does.
inhuman
I
kind of
I love the things that he
mentality.
says, and I like the fact that he learns through drinking. I really wish that was a thing.
Yes, I do too.
You know, like I need
Yeah,
to
I do
learn how to
too.
speak this language. I drink this guy. Of course, that would like I think if a lot of the things that he can do through the blood, like through drinking blood, in that depiction would like basically completely negate any reason for having most of the blood sorcery rituals that exist.
Probably, yeah.
Anyway, so archetypes. I just wanted to know before we got to archetypes what you thought on that one. Um,
Yeah.
so the archetypes. Do you have any specific ones you want to jump that you want to cover on this?
I'll do gang leader and commander.
Okay. Okay. So we're gonna like
Alternate.
leapfrog through
Yeah.
these. Okay. So I get landlord. Since time immemorial, I hate that word.
Immemorial.
Since time immemorial, the Tzimisce have been the lords of their domain. In the modern nights, however, the lords on the mountain has all but vanished. The Tzimisce are a crafty clan, and though they may no longer be manorial lords in ancient old world estates, they find ways to exert control over urban domains and rural territories where they may. Landlords may own tenement slums and fashionable high rises, but the result is the same. They bleed their tenants for their wealth just as much as they bleed their victims for their blood, and they consider both to be an extension of their property. This is, I don't know. I actually do not think I care for this archetype.
Really?
I don't. I don't know. I think I'm traditionalist when it comes to my Tzimisce, and the idea. I think it really is like the downtown high rise that I'm just like, no, no, it's too much. I don't like it. Like I'm actually not I'm not offended by the idea of the tenement slums, but the fashionable high rise kind of puts a bad taste in my mouth when it comes to Clan
Well, it
Tzimisce.
says tenement slums or fashionable
Yeah,
high
no,
rise.
I know. I think I just focus on that one thing that I don't like. This could very well be the idea of the Lord of the Ghetto.
Mm-hmm.
Like instead
Yeah,
of it being like a tenement slum, it could be a neighborhood, a bad neighborhood, or something like that. And
absolutely.
that really does fit because when like I've lived in really cruddy neighborhoods in cities, and like there's there is something of an old world village feel
Mm-hmm.
when you live in a shitty neighborhood.
There is, yeah.
There, like, especially because there's so many bad neighborhoods that are out there that are set because of like cultural divide.
Yeah.
Like you go into some of these places and it'll be like one culture that
Yeah.
lives there specifically, and they are doing their damnedest to make the best out of life. And like gangs will move in, and there will be that guy that the gangs know not to screw with. You know? And that is the person that like mom made extra food, gives it to the kid and says, "Why don't you go take that to him so that he knows that we're appreciative of all he does?"
Yeah.
You know, that's just I've lived in that situation. And again, the Lord of the Ghetto really kind of just calls forward, and I think the landlord could very well cover that for me in this.
See, for me, I grew up in a pretty like rural area,
Hmm.
where like small town, like I don't know, maybe like I think it's like 800 people was the population of the town I grew up in. It was a super small town, but everybody was kind of spread out.
Hmm.
But pretty much, everybody knew their neighbors. That was kind of how it was.
Yeah.
And so for me, I would see that as like the landlord is like the guy who owns most of the homes in the neighborhood
Hmm.
in the town, and just rents them all out to people. Um, and so like we didn't really have, like I said, a rural area. We didn't really have slums per
Yeah.
se. Um, but it was kind of, to me, I think the Tzimisce in that kind of setting would be more like whoever owns the majority of like the farmland
Yeah.
nearby,
I can
or
see that.
something to that effect. I had a neighbor who had like a great big old house like up on a hill, and their driveway was super long.
Hmm.
And I'm like, looking back on it now, I'm like, no, yeah, that would have been where the Tzimisce lived in my neighborhood, like in the town I grew up in.
Yeah.
Because it was I actually grew up in a town small enough that it was like it's called the village of insert name.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
um so I mean, literally a modern day village, um which just feels kind of right, I don't know, to me when it comes to
Hmm.
the landlord concept, that the landlord would just pick somewhere
May-
small enough for them
maybe it's
to thrive.
maybe it's where we grew up.
Yeah.
You know, like we see the landlord as different things. Like the idea of the person who owns the property, the person
Hmm.
who like legit owns the property and sells it out or rents it out, and everybody knows everybody. Rural community, I can definitely see that. The idea of like, oh, that's the creepy house on the hill. He's up there, you know.
Yeah.
But like where I lived in more of an urban setting in some stages of my life, where like if someone started trouble, we all know who fixed it, but we didn't say anything.
Right.
You know, we lived in areas where it was like, oh yeah, no, we know that guy. We know that guy in that apartment over there was spending last Thursday night breaking into cars and like stealing stuff.
Yeah.
And we also know why there's police tape at his door now, and all the windows are broken, and we're probably never going to see that guy again. We know who did that,
Yeah.
and we're thankful, but we're not going to say anything. You know,
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
like
No, you're
I grew up
grateful
in
that
some
you.
pretty sketchy places.
For me, it would be like everybody knows that guy
Mm,
because he's the one who owns the gas station in town,
mm.
and he owns uh, the liquor store, and he owns like the food pantry.
Yeah,
He's the one who
he
started the
owns
food pantry.
all the little things that make the
Yeah,
town run.
yeah, like, and he's the one who leased the property to the local general
Yeah,
store, and and stuff like that. Like, he's just, there's that one person where I grew up, and it's honestly, like, as I've gotten older, his stuff is everywhere, like in
yeah.
all the surrounding, and not just the village, like the little
I think
village town I grew up in, but it's in, like,
we have some names
surrounding
like that
towns
around here
now.
too.
Yeah, and
We
so
do,
to me, that would
yeah,
be everybody knows him because he's the only one that actually provides anything.
yeah. Yeah,
And then
you were getting provided with land and things that were needed to live. We were just being
yeah,
provided with safety.
right,
You
yeah.
know? Okay.
That's a cool concept, though.
It
I've never
is. It
thought about the
is.
Tzimisce in terms of like where I grew up. That's kind of cool.
That's the weirdest kids book ever, and I don't ever want to see it on a shelf. The Tzimisce down the road. Uh, anyway, let's get into Gang Leader.
Yeah, the next one is gang leader. It's not a gang so much as it is a way to make sure everyone's watching everyone else's back when the rest of the world has written them off. The gang leader goes out of their way to show how everyone working towards a common goal that society tells them they can't have simply needs to reach out and take it. If they weren't running a drug cartel or a protection racket, the gang leader would be hailed as a captain of industry.
Mm,
Short and sweet. Good one though.
that's interesting. I like the idea of. I can definitely see modern Tzimisce falling into this category.
Well, I mean, strip the modern terminology off of this, and this is exactly what Vlad Tepes was.
You think?
I can, yeah, I can show you guys what we can do with just 1,000 motivated farmers donning armor. I can
True.
show you what we can do for economy and health and prosperity by killing off all of the sick people, but let's not just do it like barbarians. Let's make their final moments something important to
Yeah.
them. You know, like I think this has kind of the trappings of the hero of Vlad Tepes.
Yeah. I can see that. Yeah. No. I think you've like swayed me on that one. I like that.
Yeah, because if he wasn't killing all the sick people and the liars and the cheaters and like I mean, which let's be honest, he had no like tolerance
Mm.
for crime at all on his land. If you stole something, you were put to death for it.
Yeah.
Like didn't matter if it was an apple that because you were starving.
Yeah.
Like you should have showed up to the like community brunch that he hosted all the time,
Yeah.
or
Well, there
whatever.
was
Like
no time to have question in community at that point in time because everybody was
no,
turning against
absolutely.
everybody. Like,
Hmm.
yeah, no, that's completely understood.
And he showed a small like community, like a relatively small community of people, just how formidable of a force they could have
Hmm.
been. They were able to be against the Turks
Yeah.
by just fighting smarter than the Turks. Quite frankly, I
Scaring
mean,
the hell out of them.
yeah, just it's and again I go back to the line in Dracula Untold where he's like, sometimes what people don't need is a hero, sometimes what men need is a monster.
Yeah.
Right? Do the thing that every village I put to the stake, I spared 100 or 1,000 or whatever it
Yeah.
was.
Very true. Very true.
So the next one, though,
After that, yeah, we have the Grudge Bearer. So long as the Tzimisce have claimed domain, they have been in conflict with those who seek to take it from them, which is often everyone to the covetous fiends. Hey, we got the names. We got the name fiends,
yay,
which is often everyone to the covetous fiends. In particular, the Tzimisce have long-standing hostilities towards the Tremere, the Gangrel, and the Nosferatu, whom they see as variously not only as usurpers of the blood, but also as interlopers in territories that rightfully belong to them or their sires. Grudge bearers rise each night to exact some small mote of cold revenge against those they perceive to have slighted them, and against the childer of hated rivals. Holding a grudge, man, that long is so freaking insane. I actually have a hard time with the concept of them having issues with the Gangrel and the Nosferatu, though. Because the Gangrel and the Nosferatu teamed up with the Tzimisce when fighting against the Tremere because of the construction of the gargoyles.
yep,
So, I mean, I'm sure, like, the whole concept of, yeah, these guys are underground, they get into things in your territory without you knowing, and these things are traveling through the woods without even having the decency to introduce themselves against the gangrel and stuff. So I can kind
what
of get it.
what is the say? I think I've heard you say it. What's the saying in pertaining to like a Tzimisce's Haven and a Nosferatu? If you encounter a Nosferatu,
Ah, no, that is a it's a Banu Hakim adage.
Yeah.
It's a lesson that sires teach the Banu Hakim youngers that if you are breaking into if you're traveling beneath like a palace to get a target and you find a hideous monster in the dark, you've run into a Nosferatu, you've been made, leave, come back in 3 nights with extra forces.
Hmm.
Basically, if you see a Nosferatu, everybody knows that you're there to kill somebody.
Yeah.
If you see a monster walking in torchlight, it's a Tzimisce. Leave. Your job is done for you.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I love that. I
That's
got that. I got that
that is so
directly from
good.
the Clan novels.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
That's really good.
it's. I don't know. I don't know, man. Like I have no doubt in my mind that a Tzimisce grudge. Tzimisce will hold a grudge.
Oh yeah.
Like they are known for holding a grudge, and I feel bad for those like Tremere when the Tzimisce start trickling into the Camarilla.
Hmm.
When the Tzimisce start trickling into the Camarilla, and the Tremere start disappearing, and everybody's like, "Well, I guess they got beckoned."
Yep.
No, they didn't.
No, they didn't.
No, they didn't. Check the Tzimisce's fangs. I bet he didn't floss. Like,
This concept brings something really fascinating to my mind as a storyteller,
okay.
in that when you're running and writing, so I've been writing for setting. I've been writing stories for a while, but
Mm-hmm.
here recently, I picked up the hobby again. And when you're writing a setting, especially when you're writing your cast, and then you start connecting all the dots between the lines between each and every member of your cast and the history that they have and their sires have, and all of the just kind of the backstory of your setting that kind of gives it the foundation. The Grudge Bearer speaks to me as the lone NPC of a clan. I wrote, like, iconically, like a Tzimisce would be,
Mm-hmm.
who is here to who the players will eventually need to, or will willingly encounter this individual and be so surprised at how helpful they are, and welcoming they are for a period of time.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have this sinister and just very, like, dramatic scene of the grudge bearer Tzimisce educating the young coterie of Licks in the natures of 3 nights of hospitality, and tonight is night number 4.
Yeah.
And oh, how they hate your sire and your despicable grandsire. And now you have an enemy that you're now in danger because you're in their home.
Mm-hmm.
And just that image is so, like, it gets me excited, like, I think that's a really fun, like, concept.
When I think of the concept of the grudge bearer, I see someone who has had a minor slight done to them.
Mm.
And then you're in a coterie with this person and everything's going fine. And as soon as you finish the mission and everything's done, but like everybody's exhausted, their blood's expended, like it's very hard to actually get going, that's when they reveal that they are not as exhausted as they were. And now it's time for them to claim what they believe that you owe them.
Hmm.
Like it was like, yeah, it's really good that we did all this, but
Remember
now
that time?
now I have to end you.
Yeah.
Like that's what I see by a grudge bearer, somebody who's disobeying hospitality and stuff like that. I don't. A lesson needs to be taught, and the person who's learning that lesson might very well not live to utilize what they've learned. But I don't
Well,
see that as a grudge. I just see that as needing
no,
to
no, no, no,
happen.
no, 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 no. I apologize if what I said didn't come across as I intended.
Okay.
The idea is that this NPC is, so there's, we'll use the Tzimisce as example because it's just such a rich concept. The coterie needs something, and they're welcomed in by the Tzimisce. With they're pointed in the direction of the Tzimisce up on the hill,
Mm-hmm.
they're welcoming, and for 3 nights, he's very hospitable. He's very polite. He discusses and gets to know each of them, and in turn they get to know him. And then on the beginnings of night 4, he's he has upheld his laws of hospitality. However, it says here, the grudge bearers rise each night to exact some small mote of cold revenge against those they perceive to have slighted them, and against the childer of hated rivals.
Mm-hmm.
The grudge isn't against them for staying on night, or overstaying their welcome. The grudge is they're no longer held to the laws of
That's
hospitality.
very true. Yeah, no, that's very true.
Now they can take out their grudge
You
against
could
your
have escaped.
grandsire.
Yeah, you could have escaped, but now you're a fair game. That's very
Yep.
true.
I've given you 3 nights of fair stay. My hospitality. I've upheld my convictions of hospitality. Now that that's done, I have an issue with your grandsire, and I'm going to take it out on you,
Yeah,
kind of thing.
very true. Next thing you know, their grandsire, if they're still alive, gets a bag of ashes in the mail with a note
Yep.
that says, "Everything's forgiven."
Yep.
Very
Yep.
true. Why don't we get this special forces commander going?
All right. The Special Forces Commander, possessed not of a traditional land domain, the Special Forces Commander has instead the nigh fanatical respect of their unit, and their soldiers would follow them into hell itself. So the Special Forces Commander bides their time and trains their troops for when they can perhaps parlay an insurrection or police action into greater claim of domain.
Mm,
Another short and sweet one.
yeah.
Um,
I don't know. I just see a
this,
Tzimisce sheriff
yes,
that has
yeah,
his
this is an easy share.
hounds that he's like slowly blood bonding.
Yep.
Domitor's
Oh yeah.
favor.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Or the Tzimisce sheriff with the Revenant line, with whom he's slowly embracing and bringing in
Mm.
as hounds
We need
who
more.
are.
We need more information on revenants in
We
V4.
have enough to play them.
True.
We have enough to play them. I believe it's the Duchesky Tremere lore sheet tells us
Yeah,
what a revenant is mechanically.
that's
They are
true.
a ghoul with 2 first level discipline powers of their lineage, um, and they do not have to
They
be
don't have
fed
to drink
monthly.
blood. Yeah.
They don't have to drink blood to stay ghouls, to maintain their power.
There's some fun non-canon stuff in the Sabbat guide, in the
Oh,
players guide for the spot. Yeah.
is there? I
Yeah,
guess I haven't noticed that stuff.
there's like a Brodovich lore sheet and a Xantosa lore sheet. Like all the popular ones got a lore sheet.
Is there really?
Hmm.
How did I overlook that?
It's really nice. It's really nice. Um, so yeah, freaking Tzimisce, man.
It just feels wrong that we're already at the end of the chapter and now the end
I
of
know.
the plan stuff for tapping the van.
I love the fact that we ended on Clan Tzimisce though. I really
I
do.
mean, it makes perfect sense.
What are your final thoughts towards Clan Tzimisce
Oh,
after going over it?
I mean, I love the clan. Like, I've never claimed the Tzimisce as one of my favorites,
Hmm.
but I have probably well, we'll put it this way: I claim the Malkavians as one of my favorites.
Hmm.
I have played like a total of probably 5 or 6 Tzimisce in my life, and I've played maybe one Malkavian in older editions.
Mm.
Um, I genuinely like the clan a lot. Um, I think that the themes that they have in 5th edition are more concise than they were in prior editions. They, to me, in older editions, they just had uh, a lot of different themes going on in older editions,
Hmm.
you know, and now those themes are kind of more like zeroed and focused in, and I love what 5th edition has done with them. Um, I'll of course always make my jokes and complaints about vicissitude, but I really don't hate it that much.
Yeah.
Well, actually, you've seen me play as Amici. one of the Tzimisce I forgot I'd ever even played.
Hmm.
You have seen it for one session at
We
least.
did. Yeah, we got to play.
Tzimisce's together.
Yeah,
Yep. He was my character was Elias, or yeah, was it Elias? Yeah, Elias Guerra.
yeah. I really wish I
Yeah,
could have played that a little bit more. The whole concept of that character was a lot of fun.
yeah,
The
that was a lot of fun.
the 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 smuggler
Yeah,
between the states and Mexico. That was a lot of fun.
I'm
That
I'm
was a lot of fun.
curious. I'm curious to ask you, like, as the voivode himself. That was one of the earliest Tzimisces I think I've ever played.
Okay.
How would you have what did you think about that character? Just out of curiosity.
I think it had a lot of potential, and it's really sad that we didn't get to play that more.
Yeah.
I really do. Like there was a lot going on, politically, I should say, in that game.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, and but like it was a lot of fun, and I liked our characters' interactions.
I did too.
Um,
Yeah.
that was a lot of fun. Um, man,
I remember in your I believe you did a review of that session, like a recap of that session on for your channel,
yeah, yeah.
and I I was honestly surprised at the way you reacted to the using vicissitude to give a mercy killing to a touchdown. Do you remember that?
Not directly, but I like. Why were you? Why would you be surprised by that? Like vicissitude is a tool; it should be used.
Well, I wasn't surprised by it.
Mm.
Like it seemed like in the moment you were surprised because you'd never. I don't know if you were speaking from yourself or from your character's perspective in that review, but it was like you were very like surprised by the sentimental like the sentiment moment of using vicissitude to just reach in and like stop a heart,
Yeah.
which is so scary. First of all, can we say how scary that is that like, people
No,
do that?
vicissitude. You want to know what's scary? Have you ever seen the Ebony Kingdom book?
I haven't.
Okay, well, there are effectively versions of each of the clans set in Africa.
Hmm.
And the Tzimisce are called the Noglopters.
The what?
The Noglopters.
Okay.
They basically are very primal. They're very gangrel.
Okay.
Okay, and they hang out in trees and they hide in trees and vicissitude through line of sight.
Mm.
They don't have to be near you to turn you inside out.
Oh, that's terrifying.
It is terrifying. And in the Time of Judgment book,
Hmm.
one of the scenarios where like disciplines started going haywire, all of Clan Tzimisce gained the ability to use vicissitude by line of sight.
That is terrifying.
Yeah, because their disciplines went like more like primal and less like defined. They just kind of
Hmm.
like started going like taking a step backwards evolutionarily, which was amazing. I enjoyed my psychic vicissitude. That was fun.
I remember. I specifically remember some uh, combo disciplines
Hmm.
pertaining to. I think it was like celerity uh, and aspects, where you could like just think about changing and do it like instantaneously.
There used to be a 5-point merit called Prometheus, I think. Promethean clay. That's what
Okay,
it was. And it was you changed through thought.
that's cool.
Your body just changed through thought. It didn't work on other people,
Hmm.
but like any changes you wanted to make to yourself, you didn't actually have to like look in the mirror and take time. You just changed.
That's cool.
It's pretty insane. Like you did have to do the typical test, but you didn't
Hmm.
have to take the time. So that was a
But
lot of fun.
yeah. So I think I've pretty well just repeated myself through most of this episode. But like, what are your final thoughts?
My final thoughts on Clan Tzimisce. I mean, again, they're my favorite clan. They have been like I remember the very first time that I picked up a Vampire the Masquerade book. I got invited to a LARP. I went. They handed me the book, and I'm sitting there flipping through the pages, and the very first thing that caught my eye was Clan Tzimisce, and I was told no, that I was not allowed to play it. And they made me make a Toreador.
Yeah.
And I did not get around to playing as a Mitzi for a few years after that. I can actually think of probably like maybe 4 or 5 characters I played.
Hmm.
And I was just so freaking pissed off about it. Like, I didn't complain or anything like that. I figured people had their reasons.
Hmm.
And the reasons were I was new. And that was it.
Mm.
I didn't have the experience to play something that was that, like, that was that dead set. You know, like everybody always said, oh, it's a new person, throw them into Clan Toreador. You know, that was just
Yeah.
that's the way that the game that I worked in worked at. Like, in my opinion, I'm like, if you don't know what anything is, play a Catif. You know,
Hmm.
play a Catif or whatever, and play something that like Bruja. You know, like be angry and hit stuff. Like, don't throw somebody in a Clan Toreador. That's such an intricate clan. Like,
So my thoughts on that particular
I
topic,
also think that anybody should be able to play whatever the hell they want.
that was going to
First
be
off,
pretty well summed up. If you have a new, I'm going to talk to the storytellers out there and the new and old.
hmm
If you have a player who's never played before and they want to, something catches their eye that you, for whatever reason, your your perspective on it is they're not going to do it right.
hmm
Let them do it.
yeah, let them be a bad example of that clan.
Let
Like,
them play the character they want to play. And if you are so beholden to some image of whatever it is that they're interested in, and you don't, for whatever reason, you don't want to give them that all like that freedom, let them play a new member of that clan.
yeah, let them learn in
Let them
character.
learn it, teach it to them so
Have a
that they can
sire for
understand
them
it.
who teaches them how to be that clan.
Yeah.
Like,
Like, don't tell people not to just be, oh, here, play Toreador.
yeah,
Like,
Toreador should not be a cop out clan.
no.
And again, one of the big reasons I love V5 so much is that there is next to no stereotyping for the clans now. Like,
Hmm.
anybody could end up being anything.
Yep.
And as much as like I love, and I got into a conversation with this at my table last night because we last night was a session of Thicker Than Water. Um, I got into a conversation with some of the players last night about how like ancestral backing for the characters. Like,
Yeah.
we don't have cultural divides between clans anymore.
Mm-mm.
But when Vampire the Masquerade was first written, it was a very obvious split of where everyone was from. The
Yeah.
13 clans all came from 13 different locations around the world. They had a
Yeah.
history in the Book of Nod that said they all came from one place, and then they split up and went to different places and created their own societies.
Yep.
And now they were starting to intermingle again, a melting pot. I do not ignore the fact that those clans have ancestral homelands, but I do not make it so that the players have to play those cultures to play the clans.
No.
If they run into an elder from the clan, like a legit elder that's still around, yeah, you might run into a stereotypical Austrian Ventru,
Hmm.
you know, or a Toreador who's from France,
Yep.
or a Bruja that's from Greece. Like, they all had cultural beginnings, and the Tzimisce are from the Carpathians.
Yep.
Even though the eldest, the Tzimisce Antediluvian, was said to be a proto-Egyptian mage.
Mm.
So, like, they all have places where like, they all have the idea of a stereotype,
Yeah.
but they don't have them in V5 like as a set ruling. You
Yeah.
don't have to do that.
I look at it this way, and I've had this conversation recently with some people. This is my interpretation,
hmm
or this is my preference. Okay, so I'm not telling anybody that this is how you have to play Vampire. You play it however it's fun for you and your table.
hmm
But for me, your clan, just like saying that, if your parents were, drug addicts or workaholics or whatever, right? It's like you are more than your parents. You are
Mm-hmm.
more than your family. Your character is more than their clan. Your character's clan should be a piece of their identity. It should
Yeah.
not be their entire identity. It's like it that would be like saying that um it would be like saying that if you're all veterans are one way,
Yeah.
or all 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 farmers are in the FFA, or say something, just some over overly simplified generalization of people
Mm-hmm.
is like saying that. So clans shouldn't be more like, it's like, is what bank do you go to? Is that your identity,
Yeah.
that you go to that bank? It's like,
I'm
no.
total. I'm totally okay with enforcing the cultural standards of the clans in like a Dark Age game.
Sure.
And even that there's reasons why. Like hell, you and I are currently playing in I'm running the Giovanni Chronicles.
Yes.
Your characters were brought in from all over the damn place
Yep.
as food.
Yeah.
You were not meant to be embraced, and then circumstances happened, and your characters get embraced.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert: this vampire game is not going to end on the second episode. Um, but like the whole concept is that like you guys could literally have been from anywhere,
Hmm.
and you are embraced by random clan who wanted you as food.
Yeah.
Like there is literally nothing that stops you from going, yeah, I'm playing a Italian noble who got embraced by Clan Tzimisce, but Clan Tzimisce's from the Carpathian Mountains. Yeah, but he wanted to eat Italian that night.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing stopping you from doing that stuff. Like the
Well,
one thing
like,
that you should actually have in mind for your clan is why did your sire embrace you?
mhm.
Like there's going to be reason for your sire to step outside of the norms. Or
uh,
maybe your sire just wanted to step outside the norms.
yeah. So one of the things that I hear people say a lot of the times when they're talking about vampire characters is the one thing you have to know is, why was your character embraced?
Hmm.
It's like they had to have been good at something or have a purpose. No, they didn't. Vampires are people.
Hmm.
Do you know how many people in the real world do hurt other people for stupid, selfish reasons
Oh, absolutely.
that they later look back on and go, "What was I thinking?"
Oh,
You know,
absolutely. I've seen that
like,
in games. Like
yeah.
we Serendipity played a Tremere that was embraced by Davika's character in a LARP that we ran one time, and like literally like within like 2-3 weeks after the creation of that character, he was like, "Oh, I will never do that again. That was a mistake." Like
Yeah,
like
like,
her character was grounded most of the time, like locked in her room.
and so, okay, let me use an example that you would understand, maybe not everybody else, but like,
Hmm.
we'll try to make it clear. My character, my Venture Harland,
Okay.
for your Portland Patreon game.
Okay.
He's not at face value. He's not a very standard Venture.
No, he comes off very Bruja.
Yes,
Like at
but
first glance.
at first glance, he seems more like a Bruja than a Venture.
Hmm.
But then when you start peeling, giving him a little closer look, it's like, that's a pretty nice wristwatch there. And some expensive accessories you've got.
Yeah.
You're pretty good at business. Like, those themes are there because that was the kind of person that he was before he got where he is today.
Hmm.
But I mean, this is a little bit of meta knowledge, but like, he's not socially a venture anymore.
Yeah. Well,
He's
do you
like,
know the
he doesn't
story?
have
Do you,
like, he doesn't have clan backing anymore. Like, he is very much not a venture
do
as
you
far
know
as social standards
do
go.
you know why your sire embraced you?
No, I have no idea.
Do you want to know why?
I assume it had something to do with Billy Smith, but I don't remember.
You remind Rose of Billy when he was
Yeah,
younger.
yeah.
That's it. They
That's it.
she saw human Billy in you and just had to preserve it.
Yep. That's such a it's such a selfish reason to
Yeah.
embrace somebody.
Of course it
But
is. She's a vampire.
yeah. That's That's what I'm saying. Like the player's guide has this little section in the beginning of it that's like vampires. Uh, you don't serve the clan. Vampires don't control things. They
Yeah.
influence them, right? So it's like your character's clan should be no more a part of them than their hair color
Your
or
character's
their
clan
like
is their bane and their compulsion.
yeah.
That is your clan. You
Yep.
come out as a clan. You come out as a Tzimisce once that covetous nature makes you decide that you have to take something that's seen. You become a Toreador the moment you become entranced by some beautiful thing that's in the room. You become a gangrel when you just sink into non-human regression. Like
Mhm.
that is what makes your clan. Your clan is your clan is your compulsion. And there's
Yep.
nothing that I think that can change my mind on that one. Play the character you want to play as the person you want to play, and then when that thing hits you, that's when you become your clan.
Yep.
Like, I might want to dress up in a nice fancy outfit and have a cane and walk into the Elysium and be a Tzimisce and look like a Tzimisce, but that's because my character is absolutely trying to emulate his sire.
Yeah.
He is trying to prove to his sire that he can be the best vampire that he can be. And in his mind, he believes that to be the best vampire you can be, you have to be the best Tzimisce you can be. I took the high clan lore sheet because I wanted that first level, that peacock.
Hmm.
You believe that your clan is the best clan. like, like he's not going to rub it in people's faces, but like my character definitely believes. Like my Darkness Emergent character believes that the best clan is Clan Tzimisce, and he's there to represent.
Here to represent.
I'm here to
You know,
represent.
I think I've said this in another video, but just on the topic,
Mm-hmm.
a line that I wrote for a setting as like the premise of a setting is the reasons for creating a vampire are as numerous as those who create them.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Do not worry about your clan when you create your vampire. Make the vampire and play the clan that you want to play, but do not be dictated by the clan until
Yeah.
that compulsion hits.
Yep.
Because that's what that's for. It's to make you play your clan at the worst possible moment. Anyway.
I think we're both doing the same thing where we're just kind of going off on tangents because we don't want this to we don't want it to be over yet.
No, it is time for self promotions, I think.
All right. I am Silent Comedy. I am the community manager for Our World of Darkness. I am also the, I guess, host of the Werewolf. Our World of Darkness presents a Werewolf the Apocalypse channel. I will be storytelling a W5 Chronicle in the upcoming weeks. And my Patreon and YouTube are currently up. The links should be in the description to this video.
All my
We
videos.
all of the videos.
All the
Okay.
videos. I put silence stuff in all the videos now.
Okay. And I will. What was I? What was I gonna say? I forgot what I was gonna say. But yeah, I will be at Darkness Emergent here in just a week, less than a week. Kind of crazy.
That's crazy. I think we're
Uh,
actually going to be at Darkness Emergent when this video comes out.
Sweet. That'll be awesome.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure
Um,
the day this video comes out is the day we'll be getting ready to go into the main event.
That'll be cool.
Yep. Oh wait, no, this video comes out on Monday.
Yeah. But yeah, my channel's up. Content is coming as soon as I can get it up. A lot of things, very busy schedule right now to be. If anything, probably launch the channel promotions a little early, but that's okay. just build that anticipation for people who want to see it.
Well, we're just trying to get you as many subscribers before you get any content at all on the channel.
For real though, let's get me to 1,000, just because
Yeah,
I
let's
think that would be.
let's
I
get
want
Silence channel monetized before he then gets video one up.
that would be the funniest thing in the world. Also, who like who else has the bragging rights to just be like, yeah, I've been monetized since my first video. YouTube doesn't pay much, but that still, it'd be funny. But I think that's pretty much it for me. I feel like I'm forgetting something, but I'm
You
sure
always feel like you're forgetting something.
that is I live in a constant state of feeling like I'm forgetting something.
There's always
So
another video.
that's true. Oh, speaking of which, that I think that's what it was that I was
Okay.
forgetting. The next video. The next video of this series will actually, well, if Tapping the Vein will still be here on Mekhet's channel,
Mm-hmm.
but we'll be starting and launching Sparking the series Sparking the Rage on my channel, which will be doing all of the werewolf tribes.
Yep.
And I get to host that, and that'll be fun. I've actually had a lot of people very hyped for that.
Yeah. No, I'm excited. I can't wait to be like the co-host for you.
Yeah, it's gonna be weird having like the responsibility of the conversation kind of flipped a little bit.
Yeah.
But I think that's it for me, man.
All right. My turn. I am voivodemekhet, and I am the host of the now officially Our World of Darkness Presents Vampire the Masquerade. We have done like a
Yay!
slight branding change so that it makes sense with our two channels. Um, oh my god, man, this is the last episode of Tapping the Vein that we have a layout for.
Mm-hmm.
I'm super, super excited about that. I'm so glad that it ended on Clan Tzimisce, which is my all-time favorite clan.
And this was an accident.
And this was an accident completely. It was supposed to be alphabetical, and it didn't work out that way. So here we
It was
are.
meant to be.
It was meant to be. I am going to be, or I am at, or I'm coming home from Darkness Emergent, where I am going to be, storytelling and also playing in the big event. And oh my god, dude, I don't know. Our things are going so freaking well with this community. And you know what? Instead of bragging and everything that I'm doing right now, I'm just going to go ahead and say thank you guys for everything.
For
Thank
real.
you, everybody who pays attention to what we're doing here. And every like counts, every share counts, every comment counts. I love talking to you guys when I get the chance to. I know that I've fallen behind, but there's 2,222 of you at the time of this recording. And keeping up with all the comments is like flipping impossible, though I try. Everything that you guys have done to get this channel where it is, I appreciate all of it, and I cannot wait to see where it goes from here. That's all I have to say. Do you have a challenge this week? Our last challenge for this part of the series?
I think I missed the last 2 weeks challenges just because we were like just so in the conversation.
Yeah, I think that's true. You got to get one
Yep,
today, though.
I have one challenge for everyone. I need everyone, and I mean everyone, who hears this video to subscribe to my channel. No, I'm kidding.
Seriously, subscribe to his channel. It's
No,
awesome.
yeah, no, seriously. No, I'm sorry. That was actually not what I was planning on saying, but it
It's
just hit
funny
me
as
and I had to say
hell.
it. I need everyone who watches this video to come to the Discord and tell us, and as many words as you want to use,
Mhm.
what was your favorite episode of Tapping the Vein
Yeah.
and why? That's the challenge for this week.
I'll be 100% honest. I think Tremere was my favorite.
Yeah?
Yeah, I had a lot of fun doing Tremere with you. That was a lot of fun.
I can't believe I'm going to say this, but I think my favorite video was the Ravnos.
Yeah?
Yeah, I had a
Ravno was
lot of fun in that
awesome.
video. I had a lot of fun in that video.
All right. I guess until the next Tapping the Vein, which we will be taking a little bit of a break after
Yep.
this episode, not only to get Sparking the Rage up off the ground, but also to decide what the hell the next topic is going to be. for this.
I think we throw up a poll because I've got a list of 3 that I've been drafting up as
You
topics.
know what? I will. Yeah, let's do a poll. We're gonna put a poll up
Okay.
to decide what the topic of the next episode of Tapping the Vein is going to be, since we're out of the clans that are just provided. So
Well, actually, I guess I have 4 that I've been drafting up for topics.
that's fine. I was gonna just say,
So
should we ask for suggestions and then like make a poll based off the people, like the most suggested suggestions?
well, the 4 that I have, 3 of them are suggestions.
Okay.
So, um, because actually, I guess all 4 of them are things that I have talked with the community about in the Discord.
Okay.
And so I know that they're going to be things that people are going to be interested in listening to.
Very cool. Very cool.
Um, so we'll maybe that week, maybe we can get that poll put up pretty soon.
Yeah.
After this video airs, and then we'll go from there.
I think we're stalling.
We all.
I don't want this episode
It's
to be over.
bittersweet. It's bittersweet.
It really is. All right. I need. I've got some editing to do. That's for damn sure.
Yeah.
And I think we're done. I think that's all that we have to say about Clan Tzimisce and our everything else. So I guess until next time, like
Done. Yeah.
yeah,
Just drop the sick outro.
drop that sick outro. Night.